Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to day 4. Yeah, day 4, chapter 2. What to say? It's been stood here since Saturday. It is now Monday. It basically, we had drizzle all day Saturday, which we could work in. I left it stood up there. It was round to the side a little bit, sort of round that way. And unfortunately it hammered down with rain all night Saturday and pretty much all day Sunday. That's good in respect that it's been carried on being flushed through with water, but bad in respect that I'm trying to dry it, so hence now it's Monday. But anyhow, while it's still up there, we'll have a quick little look inside, and hopefully you can see that it's looking pretty clean. But this is the exhaust end, remember. Now, I've had a comment from somebody asking if the inside has collapsed. And looking at it, I can't see any evidence of that. I have also picked it up and shook it. And there's no rattles or anything. That's not to say it isn't broken, it's broken on the inside bit. But the only way you can really tell that would be to bust it open, which kind of defeats the purpose. So needless to say, we won't be doing that. For those of you who don't know, or anybody who's got no idea about the construction of a DPF, if you had pottery when you were at school, and you'd put a pot in and you'd pre-fire it and then you take it out before you glazed it, that stage where you take it out of the kiln for the first time, that's what the inside material of a DPF is actually kind of like. It's like a semi-fired pottery, and it's constructed in like a honeycomb way. You ever bit into a crunchy bar or seen honeycomb? That's pretty much what it's like. Lots of little holes and channels all the way through it, and that's how it works. That filters out the particles, and it's those that become clogged up. The mesh at each end that you can see there, I'm not actually sure what the purpose of that is. It's probably just to catch bigger particles and stop them from clogging up the actual DPF. But what we're going to do today, I've been and got the hoover out, and I'm lucky with my hoover, I can actually blow with it, and I'm going to stick the end over here, and we're going to see if we can blow some water out of it with a bit of pressure, see if we can get water blowing out of it. I really don't want to put the winds in there, even though it's old winds and it's been used before, until I get that dry. Mainly because my neighbour pointed it out to me. He said when you used it before, you put the winds in and it was wet, and the winds is designed to be used on a dry exhaust. And he said by having it wet in there, you might not have got the actual reaction that you get between the winds and the ash and the soot. It couldn't do its work, if you know what I mean. It couldn't do its magic because it was wet in there. So I'm going to try and dry it out a little bit more this time before I put the winds in. Now, it was blue skies out here and I was quite happy to leave it, but if we look up in the air now, it's started to cloud over. Normal service will be resumed, so I think we've got rain coming, so I'll have to keep an eye on that, and if it does look like rain, it's going to have to come in and go back in the yellow bucket. I mean, it's still upright, but it's not as vertical as that. It's more at an angle. But anyhow, we'll make a start on that now. Okay, I've got the rubber glove on. I've got to stop putting my finger over the mic. Got the rubber glove on to try and seal the end up as best as I can. Don't know if this is going to work or if anything's going to come out the bottom at all, but we'll give it a go. Oh yeah, there's water coming out, look. Not a huge amount, but water is coming out of there. If I move that carpet, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Fucking down there for a second. Oh, it's wet, you won't see it. Hang on, let's turn it round. Turn it round so it's on a dry bit. There we go. If I put that there, you should be able to see the water come out on the dry bit of... I can't feel it so well this time, hang on. That's better. There we go. Making some interesting noises. See the water running behind. As you can see that, we've got a nice stream of water there. So it is coming out. Right, well I'm going to stop recording here because I could do this much better with two hands. But you can see what the plan is and what I'm trying to do. Well, sure enough, the rain came. Not heavy, but enough that I don't want to get this wet any longer. I blew it out for about another 5 minutes or so till it sort of stopped coming out. It was just like drips coming out. So I've turned it up now, put it on the table, and this is the other end now. Now, I hope the torch can see this. Hang on, let me get down on my knee. Oh, there we go. It is absolutely stinking in there. Hopefully the camera's seeing this, but it is black, and all the inside of the grill, it's very difficult to get both the camera and the torch in there at the same time. But that grill work is plastered in stuff. It's also full of water in there. I don't know if you can see that, but water is still leaching out of it, tons of it. So I'm going to stick the hoover on it now and suck and see what I can suck out of it. Hopefully we'll get some of the black stuff out as well as the water. But yeah, it's still very, very dirty, and there's still a lot of black in there. So we'll give that a good vacuum out. And I can't see me putting the winds in it today again. I think this is just going to be too wet. I want to try and get as much of the water out of this thing as possible before the winds goes in. So we'll get the hoover. I think I can do this and keep the camera running. Put my glove on to make a seal. And what I should have done is switch the hoover over to suck before I put it on blow, but never mind. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. There we go. Switch that on. Up. Try again. There we go. Ah, we've got no suction. Houston, we have a problem. There's no suction through that. I don't know if we've got a blockage in there or what. Try it without the pipe on. Oh, we've got no suction. Oh, the top's come off. Alright, give me a second. I've blown the top off trying to blow it out. Can't switch the damn camera off with a glove on. Okay, take two. Now it sucks. Can't actually tell if that's actually getting anything or not. should imagine it must be. Can't feel anything going down the pipe though. Oh, that is, I can feel it now. Yeah, it is getting something. Got to find the sweet spot with the pipe you have. That's sucking water. There's any suction this end. Can't feel any. Well, judging by the tone of the hoover, I'm making a seal. Right, what we'll do, we'll have a quick peep in the hoover, see if there's any water in there. Quick sneaky little peek. Ah, no water at all. So it doesn't look like we're getting anything. Oh well, so much for that idea. Let's have another look with a torch, see if it's still wet in there. Yeah, soaking wet in there. There's puddles in there. If I jiggle it, you'll see it move. Hopefully. Hope the camera's getting that. But there's puddle in the bottom of that. Right. Well, I'm going to have another go on my own with the hoover. And try and see if I can get some of that water out of there. And then we'll just stand her up under the gazebo and leave it to drain, I think, all night and all day. But I'll probably end up pinning this video to day 5. We'll wait and see. If there's any more, I shall add it on. If there isn't, I won't. Well, eventually it did manage to suck some water into the hoover. Not a great deal. About that little glass I was using yesterday, probably about half a glass of that. That's all I managed to suck out of it. Of course, there's probably some in the pipe. So what I've done now is I've just stood it upright as best I can do it under the gazebo, because this weather's a bit dodgy. As you can see, it's at a bit of an angle, but that's going to drain down pretty well. I've got to pop out now for about an hour, so we'll leave that, and we'll be able to see what's come out, because it will, well, the paving slab will be wet, hopefully. That's if it doesn't hammer down while I'm out. But there is still water running out of it, as you can see. And I've made a decision. I'm going to leave it like this pretty much all night now to drain out, and we'll have another go tomorrow. We'll assess it and see if it's any drier tomorrow, because I'm not going to put that winds in until I've got well, I reckon I want to get about 90% of that water out if I can. I'd like to dry. If it was the summer, it'd be easy. You could just leave it out on the deck and in the sun upright, and it'd probably dry in half a day. I mean, you know, boiling sun, but it's middle of winter. So, well, it's not. It's actually only just the beginning of winter. It's December the 2nd, I think, today. But yeah, that's all we're going to do today. I mean, we'll just leave it to soak leave it to drain like this for the rest of the day. If you are following the story, or if you've only just found me, go back, look at the previous set of videos. This has already been cleaned once. I spent a week cleaning it. Best way is subscribe. You'll get notifications then every time I post a new video. But this is chapter 2, because chapter 1, I didn't know there'd be a chapter 2, but there you go. Life's full of surprises. Yeah, don't know what else to say. I'm just going to leave it like this now for today. If there's any updates or any changes, I'll put a clip on. Otherwise, it will probably be day 5 when you see me next. Anyway, if it is the end of the day, have a good one. If it isn't, see you in a sec. Morning guys, day 5 I think it is. Round 2, chapter 2. It's pretty much stayed exactly where it was from yesterday. I did hoover it for a bit longer. Tried to get out as much as I can. Stood it upright so that it could drain, and it's been here all night and we're into the next day now again. Go down, you can see there's still a small amount of damp around it. Not much. So what we're going to try and do today is we're going to get it up, get it on the table, and I'm going to stick the heat gun on it and try and dry it out a bit more. Reason I'm paranoid about this is because what the neighbour said about the last time I put the winds in it, it didn't work because the inside of the DPF was soaking wet and the water stopped the winds from reacting with the carbon and the ash, so all sort of whatever the contaminants are that's in there. So that's what we're going to try today. We're going to spend a whole day just trying to dry it out. First round I'm going to use the extension lead and put the heat gun in on the low power and just leave it running pretty much, just to heat the whole thing through. And at the very end today then, I shall probably move the table right close to the back door so that the lead reaches all the way to the socket, and then run it for a bit on full power. But we'll see how it goes. I guarantee that even though there's no water running out of it now, but that thing is still absolutely full of water. So that's what we're going to try today. We're going to see if we can dry it out a bit. So just before I put the heat gun on it, hoping that the camera will pick this up, but it is still absolutely soaking in there. Don't know if the camera's getting this or not. We'll just move it around slowly and hopefully it will pick it up at some point. But that is still swimming in water in there. Even though none is draining out as per se, there's plenty of water in there, and I've got to remove as much of that as possible before I put the winds back in. So I think it's going to be another day of drying, I think, but we'll see how it goes. Right, I've got the heat gun out. I've put the long attachment on it because it's got the holes at the bottom, so it will blow air down as well as straight in. I've got to put the long one on so it can just sit in there by itself, kind of thing like that. It has to be well out because if you watch the earlier videos, I actually started to melt the thing by poking it in there too far. So that's why you have to put the extension on. But it's pretty much now. Turn it on the low heat and just leave it for a bit. Leave it for about 10 minutes and see what happens. Hopefully it will warm it up enough, warm it through, that it starts evaporating some of that water. And like I said, when I've got it good and hot all the way through, I'll then drag the table over to the door so that the lead reaches direct to the plug socket, and I can plug it direct into the mains then and run it on the high heat. I can't run it on the high heat on the extension lead. The lead on the extension lead is a lot lighter than the lead on the heat gun, and I figure I'll probably just end up melting it or blowing it or melting the socket or something stupid. So that's why we're running it on the low heat to begin with. I mean, all the high heat does is, I can show you briefly, it just makes it go higher. So we'll leave it on the low heat for now and just see how that goes. Well, I've been at this now for a couple of hours on and off. Put the heat gun in for a couple of minutes, leave it to stand for 5 minutes. This is absolutely red hot. You can't touch it, burn yourself. And if I shine the torch in, hang on, let's get down on my knees. There we go. It is near enough dry in there now. I've left it for a bit to see if any water comes through. It's very slightly still wet at the bottom there, on the bottom part of the ring, but the majority of it's dry. Now, something I want to point out, if you can see the middle there, really don't know if the camera's getting this or not. This is so awkward to do with a camera and a torch at the same time, but we're having a go. I hope you can see that there. The middle is very slightly damaged from the Hydra shot. Can you see that? It's lost some of its pattern. I've managed to damage it ever so slightly with the Hydra shot. Now that's a battery powered pressure washer, which doesn't have anywhere near the bar pressure of an electric one. So if you're going to attempt this yourself at some point, I really don't recommend using an electric pressure washer. You're going to wreck it. You're going to destroy it. I mean, it swings and roundabouts. It all depends on the value of the thing you're trying to do. I mean, if a replacement DPF for your vehicle's like £1,000 or £2,000 or something stupid, I wouldn't put a pressure washer anywhere near it. I would just do it with a chemical cleaner, and I'd probably buy 2 lots of the winds and wash it through 3 or 4 times with the winds cleaner, and do it that way. Also, let's get back up. You really want to take the sensors out. Buy the special tool and remove them. You need a special tool for removing them because they'll all be seized in there. And the new sensors will come with a paste that you put around the threads when you screw them in, so that they can be undone again. Manufacturers are notorious for not doing that. I know for a fact one of the sensors on this is knackered. I don't know which one. It just comes up on the diagnostic. It's a code and it doesn't tell you what the code is for. You've got to look it up online. But one of them has got an earth short on it. Do not know which one it is, but one of them is showing as a fault. The others are all showing okay. So, but anyhow, when I put this back on the car for the first time, I'm going to put it on the downpipe. I'm not going to bolt it up tight. I'm going to leave a bit of an air gap to allow pressure through, and I'm not going to attach the tailpipe. So just the downpipe will be running through the DPF. Get the car started, run it for 5 minutes, get it up to the car sort of a bit warmer. Tighten these up a bit more. Well, it's this end. Tighten these up a bit more. This end here. And I'll just keep on tightening it up until it's tight and the engine's running through the DPF with no tailpipe on it. So all the crud will all come straight out of this end here without the added pressure of a tailpipe on it. And pretty much all I've been doing is this. I've got the angle, if you put it about there, that seems to hit the wet spot. But it's near enough dry in there. You got to heat it all up, leave it, and the water will gradually leach through again. But as it's coming through, if the surface is red hot, so it's evaporating, you leave it about half an hour or so, come back, and then there's a little bit more water come down from the filaments further up where the heat's not reaching. And you've just got to keep going like that, which is the way I'm reading it, until basically there's no water left. You've got rid of it all. And then we shall put the winds in, but I'm going to do it a little bit different this time, how I do the winds, and I'll explain that when we actually get round to it, the way I'm going to try it a different way this time. And yet the winds are second hand, it's already been used once, but if you watch the previous videos, it was the second lot of winds I put through it. The first lot was absolutely stinking that came out. So although this is dirty winds, it's not really stinking. It's just coloured. There's no real particles in it that you can see. So I'm hoping it's gonna do the job. So that's really all the time you need to do with that. And I found if you stand it up that way, it stands up so it can cool back down. Oh, there's the end I melted when I first done it the first time round. Now if you look in here again, hoping the camera can get it, you can see all the black that's still around the end here. Remember, this is the engine end, this is the engine, this is the end that's clogged up. Now I don't know whether that's carbon and soot behind the actual mesh there and it's blocking all the channels, or whether it's just burnt on this sort of side. I don't know, but I'm hoping the winds is going to take that off, but we shall see. All we can do is try it and see. But like I say, I don't know if you can tell there, there's no water there at the minute. The heat gun has dispersed it. So we'll leave it a bit to dry and see what happens, see if more water leaches through. Eventually there's not going to be no water there, and then I shall put the winds in. Well, I can't see any water in there at all now, no damp at all. So what I've done is connected up the hoover again, and I've got it on blow. And I'm just going to try blowing it through. Ah, that's not such a good idea. There's water in the nozzle. That's from yesterday when I was vacuuming it out. Right. Don't want to do that then. That's not so good. What we will have to do is swap this to suck. I don't think I can suck that out at the minute because it will be too hot still. No, we'll be alright. I can get my hand on it. If I can put my hand on it, it's not going to melt no pipe. Sorry, anything stupid like that. Hopefully that's going to draw down any remaining moisture. Yep, sucking from the other end, so it's sucking air through it. How much? Who knows, but can't feel anything going down the pipe. I've increased the angle, by the way, so that gravity pulls it down a bit more. Grab the torch. And we'll have a look, see if we can see anything. Oh yeah. Straight away, look at that, water running. Look at that. So it's still full of water. Unbelievable. Right, well I'm going to try hoovering it a bit more then. Oh dear. Right, I've balanced the camera on top of a pot because I want to try and show you something that is now happening with this DPF that didn't happen before. Yes, I don't have a camera stand. What an amateur. Have a look at this and see what you think. Ah. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not blocking the picture. Now I'm in the way, aren't I? That's not going to work. Hang on, let me get down. No, it's still not going to do it. Or maybe you can hear it. So this end is getting full suction to it. Let me over here. Hang on, need to put another glove on. Throw it to the left hand. Right. Hear that? I'm getting good suction through it now. So we're definitely winning. Hopefully you saw some of that at least. Well, I'm going to knock it on the head for today now. Time's getting on. The Hoover is definitely the way to go, not the heat gun. The heat gun is going to be a finishing off kind of thing. So if you're going to do this and you put water in it first, which I wouldn't advise people to do, I'd go straight with the winds, to be honest with you. I wouldn't try pre-washing it because of the trouble I'm having drying it. But every time I put a Hoover in there, the water's just bubbling out. There's still loads in there. I mean, I thought about an hour ago that I'd succeeded and dried it out because it was bone dry in there. Put the Hoover in and it's just soaked again. So anyhow, we're going to call that a day enough for today. I'm just going to leave it exactly like that. I propped it up a bit higher, as you can see, so gravity should be drawing the water down, and we'll have another go tomorrow. At some point when it's dry I will put the winds in, but not until. I'm not going to put the winds in there until it's dry, no matter how tempting it is. What can I say? It swings and roundabouts on whether you want to do this yourself or not. It depends on the value of the car, depends on the value of a DPF, how much they cost to replace. And remember, if you buy a new DPF, it doesn't come with any of these sensors. And they are the devil's own to get out. If you haven't got the right tool, even with the right tool, they are the devil's own to get out. They really are. I've been told this by so many different people that you won't undo them. You'll just destroy them trying to get them out. And some of these sensors for some cars, they're like anything from £30 to £100 each just for the sensors. And like I said, this car's got 4 of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you don't want to be replacing those. I would go with the route of trying to clean it on the car, unless it's absolutely knackered like this one is. I would clean it on the car, and I would do that. I've mentioned this in one of the first videos, but we'll go through it again because everybody watches all the videos. Where you've got the breather pipes, you can't see them, I've taped them up, but here's the breather pipes. These are at the exhaust end where they both are on this particular car. But whatever car you got, find the breather pipe that's at the exhaust end, jack the back of the car up, take the breather pipe off. It will just be one of those little spring clamp things. Get up your one of those pump up spray bottle things for the garden, killer spray I think they're called, or there's loads of them about nowadays. Take the wand off, put the pipe on, put the winds, which is down there, about half of it in the bottle, and just pump it all in. As long as it's a horizontally mounted DPF, you've got no chance of it getting as far as the engine, because this is down much lower than the engine. It'll come up the tailpipe before it goes to the engine. You won't get all of the DPF doing it that way, but you should get around 3/4 of it, and it will be across its entire length kind of thing. So it is going to work its magic. And then in the morning, leave it overnight. In the morning, just lower the car down, put the pipe back on first, lower the car down or drive it off the ramp, whatever, and see how much drains out the tailpipe first, and then start the engine up and just blast it through. That'd be the way I'd go, unless it is completely knackered like this one is. But we've established today that I haven't damaged the honeycomb, because air is vacuuming through this end, and quite a good pressure coming through it as well. I hope that when I tried filming it earlier it picked it up, but take my word for it, there is a good suction coming through here now, where there wasn't before. So I think the channels are actually all clogged with water, and they were what was stopping the actual suction coming through, the water. And now that I'm getting it drier, the suction's coming through. The real worrying part is, after I put the winds in and wash it out, I've got to do all this again. But anyhow, if you want to keep up with the story, hit the subscribe button. You can always delete me again when I've finished, although I'm doing other things as well, so it's up to you whether you watch or not. A like's always nice. I always do like a like. But more than anything, more than both of those, leave a comment, just say hello. Tell me your experience if you've done one before. We've already had a bloke with a Mazda 6 commented the grief he's had, and I agreed with everything he said. They are a stupid idea, I think, but I don't think they're worth the hassle. I really don't. You know, I've said all this before, but I'll say it again. I can't see the point in catching particles to then use more fuel in order to burn them. So you're just increasing your emissions to get rid of the particles that you've captured. I don't see the logic in it. I really don't. Somebody could probably explain to me why they do it that way, but I just don't see the sense in it. But anyhow, we're going to leave it there for tonight. As usual, I wish you all a very good evening. And take care of yourselves. And we'll see you on the next little instalment. Bye for now.